Okay, and welcome everyone to Connect and Create. We are at episode 16, and we have the fabulous Lorikay Stone with us today. Thank you all so much for being here. And just a little about Connect and Create. It's a platform that I created during this pandemic, and have been selecting different people who are artists and entrepreneurs to come and speak and share about what they have been up to in this time. And it's intended really as a space to interact, to be motivated, and to see where you can find yourself in other people's story. So before I give a full introduction, Lorikay, anything that you want to say just to be present?
I'm just thrilled to be here and see so many faces that I know and love. So it's awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you everyone who has joined us today. And we may have had a Christmas or something together at Lorikay's. So once again, welcome those of you that are just joining us to Connect and Create. We're at episode 16, and thank you so much for being here, Lorikay. I know you professionally and as a friend. Lorikay and I have been book buddies for the last couple of years. We've gone through some wonderful books together and encourage each other and motivate each other to try new things. And I'm going to share a little bit about Lorikay's professional life. So Lorikay has been a professional photographer for over 30 years. Her first paid shoots were for her photography, her classmates who encouraged her to follow her dreams of having a studio and being a photographer for the everyday person. And Lorikay currently has a studio in the Old Fourth Ward in Atlanta, and her years of experience makes her very versatile to shoot in the studio, office buildings, or in natural light in the outdoors. And Lorikay, I've asked her to be here today because I'm really, really excited about what she's up to right now. So let me tell you a little more about Lorikay. So what makes Lorikay stand out in her field is her ability to bring out people's essence. Understanding the power of branding, she works with her clients to help them attract more of their ideal clients by being authentic and empowered. Lorikay has a strong sense of the psychology and body language that she's able to guide her clients to have powerful headshots. She has been invited to speak to several business groups about how she works with her clients, how she's able to guide her clients, and they can make the most out of their headshots. Many of her clients are speakers themselves, and her clients often comment about how fun and connected they felt during their shoot. So she has found this same process also works for dating profiles, family and couples photos, making for a fun and intimate photo shoot. And over the past 30 years, there isn't much that she hasn't photographed. However, one thing they all have in common, is the authenticity of expression. So I can't say enough about how I've seen Lorikay speak a number of times, and I love how you share your story. I'm really excited about what you've been up to. I think the common word that we use these days is pivoting. So I'm really excited about what you've been up to in this time of pivoting, and how you found your creative flow and being able to still, I would say, serve the public by bringing your skills out there into the world in the way that we do these days. So without further ado, Lorikay, I'd love to hear from you. And I know that you'll be sharing your screen at some point, so just let me know if you need anything. And once again, thank you for being here. I look forward to our day together. And once again, we may have questions, and we'll have some time at the end for the questions.
Sounds great. Thanks everybody for being here again. And Karina, thanks for asking me to present today. I always love doing and creating things with you. We've had a lot of fun times together. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is, I want to first tell you a little bit about my story. My family has worked for Kodak since Kodak opened their doors. It's many, many generations. None of them, however, were professional photographers. I'm the first for 4 or 5 generations to actually be a professional. And what I love about that is that it was just very natural because we always had cameras. People with my grandfather, my father, my grandmother, they would come home with the newest camera that Kodak was projecting and putting out there. As a matter of fact, just a quick side note, if just a little something you might be interested in, is that Kodak actually came out with the first instant camera, the one that Polaroid is known for. But as you know, Kodak doesn't always make the best decisions in business, and so they sold that technology to Polaroid. So Polaroid sort of has the name for it, but Kodak is actually, and my grandfather was a chemist, and it was part of his department to come up with that instant film and the way that Polaroids work these days. So just a little side note. But part of my story I want to share with you is what it is about you that makes a good headshot. Because what a good headshot is for you, if you're trying to attract your mate, your client, or just when you put your family photo on the wall, you want to put who you are out and celebrate who you are as a family and attract people who are looking for that in you if you're doing it as your headshot. So when you look at and this presentation is going to be mostly directed towards headshots. So when you're putting out a headshot, it's not about how cute you look. It's not about if you look chubby or you don't like the way your hair looks. People do business with people who they feel connected to, people they trust, people they know, people they like. So putting out who you are authentically is going to attract people who like who you are authentically, instead of putting out who you think the market wants you to be. So when you're doing that, when you look at that picture, it's about how people feel when they look at it. It's not about how no one's looking at your picture and picking it apart like we do to ourselves. People are looking at it and going, I want to have a beer with her or him. That looks like a really nice person. I feel connected with that person. So by being vulnerable and putting down your walls and being truly who you are and owning that really helps you move forward and put in your body language and your energy when you're having a photograph done. It really makes a difference. So I want to share my screen and show you some examples of some do's and don'ts of what you guys can do with the current headshots that you have. And going forward, me or you're using someone else, but I kind of know everybody on this call, so if you're using somebody else, shame on you. No, just kidding. Let me just show you on my screen here. Host disabled participating screen share. So I think you need to enable me to screen share. Host disabled participating screen sharing. You're on mute.
I might take a minute.
Okay. Let's try it again. Host disabled participating screen share.
It might take a minute, Lorikay.
Okay. Well, we can move on for just a second onto another part of that we can talk about. So we were talking about what makes a good headshot. So there are a lot of different things, and what your body language is doing and is a big part of that as well. But I do want to tell you a quick story that kind of leads into this. Figuring out what it is about you that makes you amazing and just really owning what that is. When I'm working with my clients, we have a whole coaching session ahead of time for which I ask a lot of questions and we interview and we find out what it is that you really love about yourself and what do you want people to know about you. So one of the questions I ask my clients is, what are things that your clients tell you that they love about you? Thank you. So I come up with these 3 words with my clients so that I can remind them during the photo shoot what they are. I call them cheerleading words. And these words help you remember and kind of own the energy of who you are. One example I use is when I was young. I can remember I was about 12 years old, and I was in a circle of girlfriends. And one of the girls was having an issue, and I was asking a lot of questions. And somebody in the group popped up and said, "Lorikay, you are so nosy." And I was like, oh my gosh, and I felt terrible. I wasn't so worried that I was a nosy person as much as I was worried that I had asked the wrong questions, inappropriate questions, and made someone feel bad. So because of that, I kind of started stop asking questions. I held back a lot more, and I didn't own that part of me. As I got older and moved on in my world and started doing things, and what I realized when I asked myself these questions is it's not the nosiness that's my superpower, it's that I'm curious. And being curious is something I can completely own. Like, I want to know people, and I want to know them from their heart all the way through. So when I'm talking to my clients, that's a part of that being vulnerable for both of us, to create a space that we can really dig into what are those parts of your personality that people love about you. And sometimes there are things that we hated about ourselves when we were younger, but it's who we are. And when we spin it and make it something we love about ourselves, it really can show up. And then when we're showing up as that person, we're attracting people who want that in their lives. So let me go ahead and do the screen share. I believe it is this one. Ta-da! Isn't that a beautiful logo? My friend Keith's husband, Kevin Sharp, made that for me, which I love. Why is it not going to the next screen? It's not a good Zoom call unless there's a few technical difficulties, right?
Should be good on this end.
I'm hitting my arrows. Oh, there we go. All right. So one of the things I want to tell you is please put a current headshot up, for God's sake. One of the things I tell people when they ask me, when do I know when to get a new headshot? And I'm going to tell you, if you're walking through the airport and somebody won't recognize you from your headshot, then you need a new headshot. This gentleman was sent to me, and this was his current headshot, which FYI is now out of date. So maybe we'll have a third one for the next presentation. But wow, what a difference. You can tell from the one on the left that this is clearly from the 80s, and he clearly is not owning who he is as a man. He's kind of just being small, but that's kind of how they did it. He was uncomfortable with getting his picture taken. And the one on the right, I mean, my gosh, he just lights up. I want to do business with that guy. So that gives you an idea of that. Here's another before and after I'm going to show you. This was the difference between having a professional and a non-professional photo done. That first one actually was on her website. She's an amazing therapist, but her clients were coming in and saying, this is also when you know when you get a headshot, is when your clients come in and say, oh, you don't look like your headshot. Wow, you're a lot more personable, and I feel much more connected than I thought I would. Or that picture doesn't look like you on the website. Or, anything of that nature. So her clients were coming in and saying, wow, you're so much more personable and softer and all these wonderful things than I thought you would be. And that's when she gave me a call, and we went ahead and did these updated headshots. And her words were, trusting, safe, and loving. And she really does create that space in that picture. Here's another, going back to this one real quick, another one that I don't have full examples of, but I want you to pay attention to the colors people are using. She's wearing this beautiful pink that really pulls you into that image. It pulls out the color in her face, and we did that diluted background so that she really pops out. Here's another before picture, and here is the after picture. You can see the difference in the color. It's great that she's wearing the purple, but boy, that blue really makes her eyes pop out. It really makes you want to just dive into those eyes and connect with her. But this is the difference between professional hair and makeup and non-professional hair and makeup. It can really, really make a difference. Now, if you're going to show up on a Saturday, you're probably going to look like the left, but when you're being your professional self and you're meeting clients, you're going to look more on the right. You may not look completely on the right because not all of us have professional hair and makeup every morning for us, obviously. However, you're wanting to look closer to that image and really put that out there. And also it tells your clients that, listen, I believe in my business and myself so much that I am willing to put the money out to do professional. It creates a credible and creates credibility for who you are in your professionalism. Now, this is something that I want to tell you. I love this picture. Antoinette is an amazing human being. But I want to show you on the difference between these two pictures as I crop the top of the head off on the one on the right. And that just makes the picture more intimate. It pulls you in. And if you are connecting with people, when you connect with people, you're connecting through your eyes. So when you do that, we want to bring your eyes closer to that person. I think of it this way. You can think of it this way as well. When you're talking to somebody you don't know very well, you're not very close to them. But the closer they stand to you, the more intimate it feels, the better you know them, the more open you become, because you're not screaming across the room your conversation. You're having a normal conversation. Now, there becomes a point where it's inappropriate, because some people get right in your face and it's uncomfortable. And we've all seen those pictures where it's just like this much of their head and you're like, that is just weird and uncomfortable. There's no context for it. And making sure that when you're cropping a square, especially for Facebook or LinkedIn or a lot of the profile pictures that are square or circle, you want to make sure that your shoulders are in there. Otherwise, you're just a floating head. So we were able to come in closer with this one on the right by cropping off the top of her hair, which makes you go right to her eyes quicker, and it creates a place for her head to sit on with the shoulders. So if you were to center it and bring it down with the one on the left, which is a good shot because it's further back, but if I had gone in straight, you would see that it would be an uncomfortable floating head. And I don't know about you, but I don't really want my head floating around. This is probably one of my most important ones I want to tell you about. We talked earlier about really owning who you are and being comfortable about who you are and putting it out there and being vulnerable and being authentic and sharing it in the moment with me and with the camera. My goal is to always get you to forget there's a camera and get you to remember to be in the space and just be present with me as your client, So here is a beautiful picture of Susan. She is a beautiful woman, very powerful. But and then this is the second one. I want you to look at the difference. One of them, she doesn't quite look ready when you compare them. Originally, it looked fine, but when you see the one on the right, you can see somebody who is just really more present and more owning. When I say you connect through the eyes, I think that this is a really good example of where you can see how that happens. Where one person, the one on the left, she's sort of shut down, and the one on the right, she's completely open and available. And the only thing we switched here was really just getting her to say, oh yeah, I'm present, not checking out in the shoot. And it's easy to check out in a shoot because for a lot of people, they're uncomfortable and we don't really want to be there. But my job is to make you want to be there and have fun with it and enjoy it and really own being there and who you are. And that is a great example of what that is. So I'm going to stop screen sharing and go on a little bit more about body language. In all of those images, it was really important to have good body language because that's sort of the psychology of a headshot is when you have good body language. Straight on is really powerful. And think of it this way, when you turn just a little bit, you're inviting someone into your space. You're inviting someone into your room. when you think about, when you take what you do day to day and how you use your body languages and switch it to a Photoshop, to a photo, it's similar body language. When you're being confrontational, you tend to be like this and straight on and in people's faces. However, sometimes you're listening to somebody intently and you might come in a little bit. This is not confrontational. You know, and a lot of people talk about the arm crossing, that it blocks. Well, that's true. It also shows power. So depending on what your words are and what you want people to know about you, sometimes doing this is what you need to do. You don't always have to be super approachable, but there are also ways of having your arms crossed and leaning in and smiling that's going to give that more of a feeling of being powerful and approachable versus this and then and taking a photograph up this way where you just look overpowering, you know. But sometimes, hey, listen, if I was a litigating lawyer, I kind of want that shot. If I'm a massage therapist, I really don't want that shot at all. I want something more open and soft and with my head tilted. The other thing that I'm going to tell you is when you have your head straight versus tilted, straight is a confidence. It says, I know what I'm doing. When you communicate to people about things you know, you're not going kind of, maybe. You're going, I know this. I know this. It feels, it's even hard to say maybe without tilting your head. So that's some of the body languages that are happening with us day to day. But when we're capturing a moment, like your headshot, and it's going to be your first impression, you want to make sure that you're being intentional about the things that people are taking away from that headshot. So those are several examples of things that you can do. And when you're in a photo shoot with somebody and you're understanding that, and a few examples of taking the headshot you currently have and making them work better for you. So if you take anything away from this, is go check your LinkedIn photo and make sure that your head is a little cut off and that you have shoulders and that you're not too close where it's uncomfortable, but not so far away that I can't connect with your eyes. So I would love to open this up for some questions. Does anybody have any?
Well, Lorikay, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for your presentation. And you have so much great information, so much great knowledge, and fabulous experience. And I know you said at the very beginning that what you really want to talk about was the headshots, but I was wondering, we have a few more minutes, could you talk a little bit about what you've been doing most recently? We'll just say like in the last couple of months, because
Yeah.
I'm so excited about it.
The whole pivoting thing that you did mention that earlier. So one of the things I've done with my pivoting, because when COVID hit, my mother had a heart attack right there in the beginning of March. And then every aspect in which I had income coming in went away. So I had to pivot, had to think about, well, what is it that people want to do? So I started doing porch pics, which I want to say is not my idea. It's actually an industry idea. It was something that the industry sort of came up with and we've all enveloped, is taking an opportunity where people are home, you got your families with you, you've got your dogs with you, or maybe it's just you. But it's kind of fun to capture this moment in history, you know, of you on your porch with your mask, without your mask, and taking those beautiful family portraits and taking your picture with your dogs or your cats or with your husband or your wife, or even, like I said, just you, having that picture to go down in history. And it's been a lot of fun. I recently did some graduation pictures, and we did family photos with and without the masks, and it's just a ton of fun. They'll be up online soon. But graduates, I mean, they're kind of getting ripped off on everything they've had to let go of for their senior years. So having professional graduation photos and professional photos on their porch or in their backyard or at the park has just really taken off and really doing well.
Awesome.
One of the great things about it is that my lens, I have to be 9 feet away in order for my lens to even focus on you. So I'm quite socially distancing as it is. So
Our connection got a little. Lorikay? let's see. All right, we seem to have a little bit of a, Lorikay, you're frozen just a little bit here.
Let's give her a second to reconnect.
Yeah. While she's doing that, if you guys want to start thinking about any questions that you have for Lorikay, as soon as we get her back.
Well, if you want to take my question,
Okay.
what's the difference between a good professional headshot and a profile picture for social media or online dating?
What is the difference? All right, let's see. I'm going to actually jot that down while we're waiting for Lorikay to come. We have lost her altogether. Okay, so just briefly again, what is the difference? Like, how would you think about going about it?
Yes.
Between a headshot and a dating profile.
Or social media profile. I think a lot of people are looking for something different from a socially engaging photograph rather than a professionally engaging photograph. I'm going to call her. She may not know.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
I think she's going to know, actually.
Yeah, I was texting with her.
I'm going to say she's going to know that one.
But I think she didn't know about.
While we're waiting,
Yes,
she does.
Hey, Gray.
Hi. So while we're waiting for Lorikay to rejoin us, we could have just a friendly dialogue. What is a takeaway that you all are getting? Mary, I see you, and I see a number of other people. What's something that we could just generate a dialogue, and we'll bring Lorikay back into it once she rejoins us.
Yeah, this is so empowering, right? Just to hear some of the basics of just like slight changes that make all the difference in how one is perceived. So, and it's just so generous of her to share all that information.
Yeah, definitely.
Things that the rest of it wouldn't be aware of, but we would notice that we liked one better than the other, but we wouldn't probably know why or what we should do with our own pictures.
Exactly. It's funny, as I'm listening to her speaking, I'm like looking at the pictures of all of us on our Zoom conversation. I'm thinking, should I be closer in? Is my head tilted or is it straight ahead? You know, like even though it's not a profile picture.
Hey, Karina, excuse me one sec. Can you pick up your phone? She's calling you. Or she's about to. She just texted me to tell you.
I'll put myself on mute here for.
Hey, Mary, telephone.
I'm just working with Lorikay to see if we can get her back in here. I think she may be in a remote area. And let's see if we can get her back. Thanks everyone for your patience. This is a first for me.
This is the first of these I've been on. What have been some of the other subjects that folks have spoken about?
Oh, we've had all kinds of we've had all kinds of people in the she must be in some other line. We had another photographer who's doing some really amazing work in Boston, where she's photographing,
Karina, I apologize.
People who are.
Hang on.
Now
She
Karina's
just muted me.
frozen.
Karina, I apologize for interrupting, but Lorikay is in a lobby waiting to be let in.
Yeah, I think she's in another room because
Oh.
there's no. Tell her to hang up and call back. Yeah, which I just told her.
I'm just going to put her on
Tell her to hang up and
speakerphone.
call back.
I'm just going to put her on speaker. There you go. Lorikay, talk.
Hi.
On that situation, we're trying to take care of. We're rebooting the whole laptop to get back on. But I did call on the phone. Do you want to, Karina? Was there a way to get me on there?
Yeah.
The meeting code to let me in. Let me try again. Great, I'm
Maybe
gonna hang
use
up.
the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lorikay is still using an iPhone, so she's got a lot of technology problems associated with that. I've tried to get her to upgrade. Hey, but there was a question about what other events were about. I was interested in that as well.
Yeah. So let's see. Here we go. We got it. We have a Facebook page. It's called Connect and Create. And there's actually, you can go back and look at the videos from previous speakers. And
There you are.
Here we are. Great, Lorikay. Welcome back. So while you were gone, Lorikay, a couple people were asking what were some of the previous talks, and I was just to finish that thought. And if you want to look in the chat, Lorikay, there's a couple questions, except for it says you're not in the meeting anymore. At any rate, we have had I spoke on 2 different occasions, and that was fun. And let's see, what else? We had my sister, who is a therapist in California, and she spoke, and that was pretty great. And now that we've got Lorikay back, let's let Lorikay talk. But just so you know, Connect and Create, there's a Facebook page, and we have all the previous videos there, so you can take a look at them. Lorikay, come on.
Yay! Well, not only did it freeze, but it froze in a very unflattering position of myself. So good thing I'm amongst friends. Did anybody have any questions? I was talking of, I'm not sure when it froze, but I was talking about the porch pics and doing that for families and couples and all that kind of good stuff. Yay! My IT guy got it back up.
Yay, so now we have.
Well, I'll just stay here since it's working and we only have a few minutes. So,
Gray had a
I'll
good
read.
question for you. Yeah, go ahead, Karina.
What is the difference between going about creating a headshot for, say, like a dating profile or social media profile photo, creating something that's socially engaging? What would you say would be the main points you'd want to cover in that?
Well, it'd be different for different things. So for one of the questions I'd love to ask when people are doing online dating profile pictures is, what do you love about yourself that you want other people to love about you? And it's always about getting down to the core, because honestly, I think that who you are on a dating profile and who you are in the world, the core things that it is, the core things, the deep things about who you are going to be true across the board. Now, the differences between like a business shot and an online dating shot is going to be a lot softer, and you're going to be focused on different parts of who you are. For instance, if you're online dating, I'm gonna want people to know that I'm soft and I'm nice and I'm fun. I also want people to know that in my business shot too, but it's not going to be as accentuated. I think what you wear is going to be a lot different. It's going to be more casual and more approachable for online dating than it would be for a business photo picture, business headshot. The key thing though is just the truly being authentic, and to make something engaging has to do with what you are thinking about, because what you're thinking about is truly shows up on film, and when you're talking to people, when you're present and being engaged, period, whether it's in person or during a photo shoot, people know and people resonate with that. And if you're just be present, I think that comes through, and that makes every image of you engaging. How's that?
Thank you, Lorikay.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Anyone else have another question or comment you'd like to share with Lorikay now that we've got her here all to ourselves?
You know, I'm looking at the screen, and a lot of you are people I have done sessions with, and I would love some feedback from you guys to tell me what are some things that you would want me to, what are some things I can share with potential clients that made the photo shoot good for you guys? What worked for you?
For me, my favorite thing is calling you 6 hours later and telling you I still felt so good about myself.
That's good. That was fun.
Well, what I like about you, Lorikay, is just the authenticity that you bring out in us. And, you know, as much as we style and do and all that, the 2 shots that I use the most out of, I don't know, 30-ish of 200 that were amazing, are the ones that I call the throwaway shots. It's just where you were there and present, and you captured me trying to reset the pupil of my eye, and that's our most famous fun shot. And then I forget what the other one was. Oh yeah, me laughing when I said something that cracked you up, that cracked me up, and then I've got the knee slapping laughter, and boom, you got it. So I just think you are so clear on that moment, and I really appreciate it.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you. You were a lot of fun to work with.
You mentioned you mentioned something about making it fun, and I think that was part of what was helpful to me, because I was a little self-conscious, and that just went away. And knowing that you knew what you were doing and you were going to make it work let me relax. And sure enough, it was a lot of fun. But going into it without that feeling, I would have been uptight and tense and apprehensive, and that would have shown through.
Yeah.
But as it was whether you had a camera or not, the whole thing was fun. And then the pictures that came out of it reflected that fact. So that was put me at ease.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed both of our shoots together. They were very different from each other, and very amazing. I felt, you know, it's one of Judy, I did not know before I was taking her pictures. I got introduced to her by Mary, actually. And I just feel like I have this great new friend in my life in this person. So, you know, it's part of what I love about my work is when you get to know people on that intimate level, those connections are just lifelong. You know, they're honest, they're true, and you know, everyone's being themselves, including me, and creating space for both of us to express. And wow, we did get some amazing images on both of those shoots. So thanks for trusting me.
I was very pleased with those, with both sets.
Good.
I would say the spontaneity and willingness to go into that what if moment, which is exactly what you're saying about yourself, the curiosity, to allow the present moment to stimulate you. So you start off with your knowledge base, but you're not inhibited to stay in between the lines. That's what I felt like when we did the headshot trick, and I loved it. It was fun. It was just fun, just the camaraderie and the at ease of knowing that regardless, your intentions are on the right track, and you're kind of able to get that the juice, get the juice going, you know.
Yeah. You know what I loved about our shoot, Jane, is I love the yoga shots with the yoga mat sort of in the back, and that calmness, and it just, I just want to curl up with you, and it just felt so safe. But I also really loved when we started to play a little bit, once we got those shots, and that we had you play, and you were moving and dancing. And one of my favorite shots ever is the one of you hugging yourself, and you just and you're wearing that black. It's just stunning photo of you. You just, and I look at that all the time, and I go, I cannot believe you're the age you are. It just blows my mind. So thanks for trusting me. I really means a lot. And this is great feedback, everyone. I appreciate that. And I'm looking at all the pictures up here, and I see Gray's picture in his bow tie, and I took that picture of him years ago.
Adorable.
It's fun to see that he's still using it. Yeah. We had a bow tie party at my studio one time, supporting a local bow tie artist. And everybody was wearing bow ties, and we did a big photo shoot of everybody, and it was a lot of fun just to play.
In my defense, I look younger now.
Oh, I love that picture. It's so cute.
That kicked off a lifetime of bow tie wearing. I've actually discarded all of my long ties, and I now only wear bow ties.
There you go.
Bring a little fun into it.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, Lorikay, I know that right here in our Zoom conversation, we have many people that you know quite well and have been your collectors and clients. But I'd like to let you know that we have people from Canada, from New York City, from Boston, from California, from all over Atlanta, and Europe on our Facebook Live. So anything, we have a couple more minutes left. Anything at all.
Germany.
And yeah, exactly. And and I also wanted to tell our live audience, I don't know if people on Facebook can see this, but for those of you here in our page, you were asking about what are future and what are some of the past Connect and Creates. So I wanted to let you know that I put the link for my contact page on my website. It's karinasephora.com. And if you go to contact, there's a little section, and we send out every Thursday, we send out who our speakers are, as well as other invitations and updates for what's happening with my studio. And on Facebook, there's a page that's Connect and Create, and we have all the videos from previous speakers that are on there. And if you have a particular talent in the realms of being an artist or an entrepreneur, I think there's a lot of similarities between the two and crossover. Please feel free to contact me if you have a story that you would like to share or something that you would like to share. We're particularly interested in how people have been moving and managing in the last couple of months. And rather than laying down and dying, right, as opposed to not literally, but with your business or your creativity and the flow, like what's something that you've been able to, the word they use out there is pivot, right? So that's something of area of interest, that we've been focusing on. And please feel free to check my other Facebook page, Karina Sephora, and I have some great conversations that are coming up. Now, Lorikay, thanks again for being here. As I mentioned, we have people literally from all over the world are here in your conversation. And
I see my friend Nicole. She's from Germany. She's on the call too.
So any last words you'd like to leave our audience with, both on our Facebook Live, all over the world, and here in our studio audience?
Yes, what I wanted to be the most awesome takeaway is don't be afraid to be authentic and to be who you are, whether you're in front of the camera or walking around in life. Being vulnerable by being your true self and being accepted for that is the most powerful tool you can use walking in the world and being a part of the world, because there's nothing better than who you honestly are. And I hope that everybody can remember that on whenever they are
just being in the world. Just know that you are enough and you are awesome and amazing. And think about those things that make you that. Think about what your superpower words are. What I call them cheerleading words, but think about what those are and really own them every day when you have a chance, because you're amazing.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Lorikay. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you with us. Those of you that are here today, come back next Tuesday. We have Giovanni Gonzalez, who both Lorikay and I have been hosted on his show, The Daily Huddle, that happens every morning at 9 a.m. And once again, I left the information in the chat if you'd like to come back for more. And Lorikay, I can't thank you enough for being here. Technical difficulties and all. I'm so glad to have you back. And thank you, everyone that's here. For being here, and we really appreciate and honor you, and especially in this special time, and look forward to being connected in the future.
Thanks everyone.
Bye, Lorikay.
Lorikay Photography. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Okay.